When we engage in dialogue and interactions with clients, we do so with the hope of creating new neuronal pathways. When we start to talk with someone, it activates the brain, and this gives us an opportunity to change the brain. Let's look at some different parts of the brain, talk about how they develop, and see what change we're trying to effect in the work that we do. The brainstem holds body regulation, temperature, heart rate, blood pressure, breathing, digestion, sleep, and appetite. This part of the brain develops early in gestation in the first few months of life. If our system is ever going to be threatened, this part is going to be affected. In fact, side note, trauma in pregnancy or the early months affects the brainstem, and it leads to a range of problems with dysregulation of different bodily functions. Another part of the brain, the limbic system. The amygdala and the hippocampus are involved in the limbic system. The limbic system coordinates information from the lower to the upper brain. The amygdala registers emotional significance of experience. It's primary in triggering a fear response. In fact, sometimes it happens so fast that we're afraid before we even know why. The hippocampus helps us process new information. It locates experience in time, place, sequence, person, and episode. It's a cognitive map to bring into the conscious, to help us retrieve information, to make explicit memories. If memory isn't coded in this way, the brain can't access memory in a conscious way. Side note, trauma can overwhelm and damage the hippocampus. In fact, stress and trauma lead to alterations in the amygdala and the hippocampus. And so things like hypervigilance happen. There's a greater tendency to interpret cues and interactions as threats. We have fight, flee, freeze, and fight responses. Adrenaline, stress hormones are mobilized for immediate action. The hippocampus is bombarded, and this impairs the ability to process memory. The hippocampus can't put a story together of what happened when and why and under what conditions. And so suddenly we have things like flashbacks happening because traumatic memory isn't anchored in the hippocampus in time and space and place. And so it feels like it's happening all the time, anytime, happening right now. The prefrontal cortex is involved in conscious awareness, paying attention, and thinking about our emotional state. It helps us bring the emotional into conscious awareness. Let's look at how memory develops. Starting at birth, starts with implicit memory. Implicit memory is preconscious, it's pre-verbal, it's spontaneous automatic recall, often comes through in images and sensations. Around 2, we can have explicit memory develop, and this comes online with the ability of language emergence. Semantic memory happens around 3. We can start to recall specific events in time, in place, in sequence, and understanding who was involved. And then episodic memory comes online, and suddenly we can tell the story. We understand what. It's like mental time travel. There's a sequence. We can tell a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. We understand the feelings. We know it's located in the past. You're able to go back and tell the story of what happened to you. It's autobiographical. By 7, we start with working memory, the ability to reflect on oneself and to integrate. And this is only completed around young adulthood. Integration allows us to look at how everything's put together in our brains, to be able to weigh, to be able to evaluate, to draw conclusions and hold all this information together at the same time and to draw meaning from it.